Good evening, and welcome to episode 38 of Closing Shift. I am one of your hosts, Mia. I am joined by other host, Emmy.
Yep.
We are here this week to provide quality entertainment to you as we go through the shifting seasons and the changes of time. We started this show right at the tail end of winter, and now we're about to re-enter winter, getting into fall right now, and I'm rather enjoying it. It's rather lovely. How have you been enjoying fall?
I love fall. It's very nice. Unfortunately, it got a lot more of the nice, chill outside after you left here, but it is very relieving to go outside and feel like cold weather plus a nice little breeze, just like a chill little breeze. I'm not a huge fan of, obviously, wind chill, but it is quite nice.
Yes, it was mostly around 80 when I was there. And I was like, oh God, I came here to get nice fall weather. And then finally, now here in Arizona, we have finally started to get some 60 to 70 degree days, at least in the morning. And at night, you can get to 60 degrees. And that's been rather lovely.
Yeet.
But we are now in a couple days, we are going to be back in the 90s when it is going to be that is the last week of October. And it's still in the 90s. And I'm just enjoying the cold weather while I can get it. It is my preferable temperature, preferable time of year.
Oh my God, sorry.
Oh my God. Sorry, did all the bitch leave through your nose?
Okay, sorry, I'm allergic to not shutting the fuck up. No, my allergies actually have been nuts. Transitional seasons always fuck with my sinuses. Probably why I sound a little stuffy if you're wondering, why does this bitch sound stuffy? That's why.
So I was going to ask for opening question of the week, similar to what I asked before if you were enjoying the fall weather. What is your preferable temperature?
I thought how are you enjoying the fall was your question. Preferable temperature inside or outside?
Let's say both. What is comfortable weather for you and comfortable temperature?
Personally, I'm a big fan of, I would say it's got to be chilly enough to wear layers, but not chilly enough that I can't feel my nose. So probably mid 50s, probably outside. I'm a huge fan of being able to wear layers without sweating. And I mean inside, I need it quite a bit warmer. I do not like it being I don't sleep with my fan on because I'll wake up freezing. Even on its lowest setting, I've been waking up super cold. It makes me super allergy prone, just waking up with a stuffed nose. So I have to leave that off now. But speaking of bed, also side note, did all my laundry last night and today. Awesome. Sick move by me. Anyway, back to the question.
Swag.
I had a professor actually in college who was a professor in women's gender and sexuality course I was taking. And their one bad habit, they were genderqueer themselves, and they had one bad habit that they tried all semester to kick and failed, which was just saying swag instead of okay. And they were great. You would have loved them.
We have some complaints from the board. You are no longer allowed to say chia.
Cha. You are no longer allowed to take breaks in the cha room. Oh my God. Cha.
Please stop referring to classroom etiquette as steez. I think ideal temperatures for me, it does lie around the 60 degree range. Indoors, I think 70 is a nice good spot there, especially when normally it can get into the 80s or even 90s indoors here, depending on how the weather is outside. So outside, I do like having that also around 60 to 70 is perfect. And especially for going to bed at night, I've finally been able to use my blankets. It is the time of year where I can actually I can whip out the blankets again and sleep comfortably with them instead of sleeping on top of them because I'm sweating like a hog. Although I still haven't been able to turn off my fan at night though, because I can leave the window open before I go to bed, but I have to close it when I'm actually sleeping because the humidity out here is terrible. And as much as I would love to have the cold weather from outside come inside, so I feel nice and cozy under my blanket, if the humidity in this room gets too low, from it all just getting sucked out the window into the desert, I wake up feeling like a zombie. And that happened yesterday. And I made the active effort. I was like, I need to make sure that doesn't happen again this morning, because it like fucked up my throat, because it was just like sapping away all the moisture as I slept.
Well.
And I also, because of that, sleeping with the window open, my neighbors just have the loudest vehicles known to man, and they will never in their life own a quiet vehicle, and I'm pretty sure they probably just modify them to make them louder. And so when I have the window open and they drive past with their loud ass, it's even louder with the window open, and it woke me up at 7:30 a.m. yesterday, and because it woke me up at 7:30 a.m. yesterday, I woke up at 7:30 a.m. today.
My Ferrari has water cooling. What do we... Got 3 new fans in it.
What do we...
What if cars just sounded like PCs? Like, you just turn them on, and it like you just press a button to turn it on, and it takes like a second, then it's like...
Electric cars, they have that like electric moaning.
Electric moaning.
They're just like... Meow.
So my girlfriend does when I fuck her. Electric moaning. She just sounds like an electric guitar. That's what it is.
Do robots dream of electric cum?
So... What do you want to talk about?
This is now the first episode that we are recording back after having been at Bad Blood, and after my visit. We skipped a week in between because we were behind a week. So it's actually been, more than a week since we've seen each other.
Yes.
And that's probably for the best for me, because
we took a break.
After the trip, that being there for a week, that is like more socialization than I get in like a year. That all happened in like a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed like a little cool down time to just kind of like rot for a little while. Just like, oh god, am I so oversaturated with socialization that I needed to come down for a while.
Yeah, believe me, you should expect nothing more or less from me, even though it was my house.
Yeah.
I also do not socialize well for it was easier for me because it was at my house and I had all my stuff. But any kind of like vacation I take for like too long sucks. I hate it. I really realized that when my family made me go to Disney World for like 11 days during the holidays, and it sucked.
Oh,
and
that's so long.
I didn't want to be there. I really genuinely almost at all didn't want to be there, but also I didn't want to be there because like it was just too long. Like I could talk so much about like the family vacations we had to go on all the time, but I'm not gonna like throw my parents under the metaphorical bus right now.
My family did a very similar like Disney vacation where it was like a pretty standard thing that it was like every couple years we'd like save up for a big vacation. We go to Disney for a couple days, stay at one of the hotels there at Disney. We usually stay at like Pop Century, something like that. So that was like pretty common that like 2 or 3 days we'd go there for Disney and we'd hit a couple parks. But for 1 year, I don't know what the circumstance was, but we had like a whole week that we had to just be at Disney. And within that, we were there for like the first couple days. We were like, yeah, Disney. Yeah, Disney. By the time that we were like on the last 2 days of the vacation, possibly earlier than the last 2 days, we were just like, what do we do? There's nothing. We went to everything. We rode all the what do we do? We're just here now.
Yeah. I think vacations, especially like scenic destinations like that, or like theme parks, is kind of like when you're like a parent with kids and you realize that after they move out and you see them every once in a while, it's more fun to see them. It's like,
yeah.
Or like when you're a kid and you move out of your, like, my family became so much more tight after we all moved out from living with each other. Like we became so much easier at socializing with each other, at least somewhat. And it's just like that. If you get too close to one thing for like long enough, it's going to bore the shit out of you, or it's going to piss you off.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier to get along with people when you're pissing in different pools.
Yeah. Or when you're shitting in different toilets.
You know that too. Oh my god, oh dude, I don't know what it is, but like every time that there are like guests over in this house, but there's one bathroom that we have here in the upstairs in this hallway. That is the typical bathroom that is me and my sister that we use. Every time that she has a fucking guest over, like I put a new roll in there like the day that the guest arrived, and then the next morning it was already fucking emptied. It's like, how are you using so much so quickly? How is it just disappearing?
Got the runs.
It's like you can't have your little friends over anymore. They're running us out of paper.
How am I gonna do the show without my paper?
Not my paper.
Can't see a thing without my papers.
I can't wipe a thing without my paper.
I love the idea of that game. That like classic Nintendo game that Starbomb made up for that recent song. It's like Mario teaches wiping. It's so dumb.
I had something to say, now I don't.
What a shame.
What a shame. Oh no. Sorry, there's no S.
I could talk about my super huge Zelda kick recently. Like, mostly this year.
You can do that, and then I can talk about the thing that I just remembered I wanted to talk about.
Okay, well, you can talk about that if you want.
What, do you want me to go first?
No, you know what? I'll go first, since you want.
I'm already holding this door open. Walk through it.
All right. I started the year off, whenever at the beginning of this year, I started playing Breath of the Wild. I think it was in, like, April. I was... like after like almost 7 years of owning it, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go through Breath of the Wild. Got through the entire game up to the final boss fight with Calamity in like 2 weeks.
Clammy-gammy.
In April. Just 6 months later, recently, did I actually do the fight and get to the credits in like 12 minutes.
Nice, you've been talking about that.
I have been putting that off for 6 months, and the reason is because I just wasn't ready to address the fight yet. I don't know why. I just, like, for one thing, didn't realize how much shield parrying in general was necessary for the fight.
Oh, yeah.
But for another thing, I just, like, got distracted and then completely forgot Breath of the Wild existed for a while. But I would peek at it every so often, or I'd see it on my Switch menu and be like, fuck, I need to play that. But I'll let you all know that good news, I went back and now I have finally officially completed Breath of the Wild. Not 100%. I will not be doing that. But I did beat the game, and I'm very proud of that. I'm always proud every time I beat a game because of how low my attention span is. It's very rewarding for me to complete a game. It's like when I 400%ed Spider-Man Remastered on PC, meaning I 100%ed the 4 different storylines, and it was awesome. I sometimes get nostalgic for that world of New York in that game, that I wish I could go back and just swing through it. But also after that, I had I knew on my radar next was Link's Awakening, because I have that on Switch as well. Those are actually both games I have physical copies of. I only have 4 physical copies of Switch games, and those are 2 of them. But I knew Link's Awakening was what I was going to go to after Breath of the Wild. And so I'm playing that right now, and I've got 2 of the 8 instruments you need to wake up the windfish, or whatever. Very fun so far. I like its art style. I like how cute it is. It's a nice little top-down game. Top-down, kind of. Very cool.
It's nice. That's they built off of that to build the new Zelda game. The new Echoes of Wisdom, which does seem to be a pretty neat little thing.
I currently I have loose plans. I might not get a Switch voucher and get Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom.
That'd be a good call. I used a Switch voucher to get Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
I just think moving forward with Zelda, that would be the best course of action.
I think if you do Tears of the Kingdom, it'll put you in a really good spot to figure out like a lot of Echoes of Wisdom stuff, because they use similar systems.
I would either do that or like Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Party Jamboree or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, I know I'll get more out of a Zelda game than I probably will out of the Mario Party game, so I'd rather kind of do that.
Have you seen all the reviews rolling in for Mario Party Jamboree?
No.
They've been all like rave reviews. Everybody just like, this game is amazing. It's awesome. Except for Eurogamer. The one gaming publication. Everybody else is giving like 8 and 9 out of 10s, and Eurogamer was like, no, it's a 4 out of 10. And everyone's like, why? What's wrong with Mario Party Jamboree, Eurogamer? And the person who wrote the review for it was just like, yeah, so it's good for a Mario Party game, but I just think Mario Party sucks in general.
I'm not a huge fan of the genre. I think Nintendo should head away from this direction.
People like they lost the chance time and it dropped the points.
Whatever. Stupidity on the internet is to be expected.
Yeah, although it's easier to avoid now that I've fully shifted away from using Twitter, which it remains on my phone purely for the sake of like tweeting once per month, because Twitter has an automatic deletion policy it has now, where if you're inactive for like a month, then it's just like, no, we're just going to delete your account automatically and leave your username up for grabs. And I'm like, I don't want that. Actually, I don't want all my stuff deleted if I like decide to not be chronically online for a month. If I go outside for a month, you're going to be fucking like penalize me. So I have to like hold on to it just for that. But I have fully integrated into Blue Sky. I've been posting on there, and it's been just a much more lovely time in general. It's a lot like it is significantly less toxic. There's no algorithm that is specifically designed to push hateful shit to you just for the sake of keeping you scrolling. It is very good about like what you get recommended in your like feed. It's like almost entirely people that you follow, mixed in with like some things that it thinks you might like based on the activity of the people that you follow, like the stuff that they like and retweet. So it's like a lot more return to form and not like a robot shoving racism down your throat for the sake of keeping you active on the website. Been a lot better time. Much more lovely.
Well, I'm happy for you. That fact of the matter almost makes me want to delete my Twitter account just out of spite. I probably will not, though, as I use it quite a bit. But, you know, I just don't. It's easy and hard to get annoyed by all that stuff somehow. Like, it annoys me, but I'm like, to be expected, so I'm not really surprised. I guess it annoys me more than it surprises me. But that's just kind of a disappointing thing. Like, I could try to... The problem with being a content creator that I didn't like is you have to spread eagles so far across platforms that, like, you get stretched too thin very quickly. And, like, people expect you to hold up your end of the bargain on every platform. And it's like, well, I don't want to tweet all the time. I don't want to post on Instagram all the time. I don't want to post... Like, the advice I always got from my streamer friends is, like, you should post where you're streaming as much as possible. And it's like, yeah, but I just want to stream. I don't want to post it everywhere. I'd rather random people come in from, like, a raid or, like, the recommended on Twitch or something just by chance than, like, try to promote that hard just because that's how I view it.
Yeah.
It's not great for marketing, but I don't care about marketing. I just want to stream.
Tell you what, looking at my Twitter now, is that my Twitter, I just want that to be like its own little, like, you know, mausoleum of the history of all the stuff I've posted on there, funny little things and whatever. Because I think I've made some great tweets. I think I have some real bangers on there, some real entertaining stuff. The really unfortunate thing now, and I think I've gone back and deleted a fair share of it just to try and, like, cut down on the clutter of it. But I used to tweet every time that I went live. And I went live, you know, every day. So my Twitter, like 3,000 tweets, and half of them are just go live notifications. And when I want to, like, look back through the backlog of that, and like, oh, I think I had something really funny that I maybe want to, like, share again or, like, reuse for this other platform, I'm scrolling through an endless wave of just junk from old going live notifications. So I just don't even bother with that anymore. I just try to go live at the same time every day. And that level of consistency alone really helps a lot in just making sure people can come back, as opposed to just spamming the internet with it.
Right.
Also, for people who also do not like Twitter and do not like the way that it has gone and hate that the guy who owns it is in charge, let it be known that he does not actually own Twitter. Elon Musk does not own Twitter, not legally, because he had to get $13 billion of loans from banks to be able to purchase Twitter, meaning that he doesn't actually own it unless he pays off $13 billion of loans, which he can't pay off because he's losing money. And if Twitter ends up, you know, crashing and burning from that, he ends up defaulting on those loans, then Twitter goes back up for sale. So if you're like, oh, it's so hopeless, he's never going to sell the platform, he's just going to go down with the ship. Once the ship goes down, it goes back into the open waters. And if you are actively, like, participating in that platform, then that does increase the amount of time that it has remaining before Twitter goes back down and back into open hands. So if you want him out of control of it faster and you maybe want to get that platform back, maybe just, like, stay away from it a little bit. Don't add more fuel to the fire.
Fair enough. There's some advice from us.
I suppose I could mention the thing now that I said I was going to bring up before you talked about Zelda, because I remember what it was.
Yes, you should do that.
I have a mini fridge.
Oh.
An actual mini fridge now.
Hell yeah.
So I had a little drink cooler for a while. It's like one of those little, like, it looks like a tiny fridge. It's like a foot tall. It holds like 6 cans if they're laid in there horizontally. Those things suck. And I was using it for a while just to, like, keep some drinks, like, chilled, or for if I had, like, you know, like chocolate or something that I wanted to keep up here for a snack. that then I couldn't just keep on my desk because it would melt with how hot it gets here. I was like, oh, I'll just put it in there so it doesn't melt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. I just got followed by somebody named Emmy on Blue Sky.
That's crazy.
So I was using that for a while. But those things, I watched recently a Technology Connections video on it, and I discovered through that video, oh my God, this thing that hardly even works at all and barely even keeps my drinks cool it costs more in electricity every year to run this than an actual full-sized refrigerator. It doesn't make any sense how something so tiny is so horribly energy inefficient. It's just burning money to keep it plugged in. So I was like, you know what? Let me unplug this thing. And what I'll do is that, you know, my parents, they've been asking me since like August. They're like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I don't know. There are very few things that I actually want. And so then I saw that and I was like, you know what? I could ask now for like a mini fridge to like replace this cooler, and it would be like better for all parties involved, for the electricity, for everything, just work better. Throw that on the Christmas list. And come to discover the other day, I go downstairs for just some recreation, and sitting at the front door, inside, in front of the front door, is a box with a mini fridge. And because this is just, my parents, they buy stuff so early for Christmas, but then they're so bad at like planning around it. So, you know, my Christmas gift is just sitting there at the front door, and I was like, oh, and my mom was like, okay, well, you've seen it, so just take it. So now I have it 2 months early. Merry Christmas to me. I have a mini fridge. Christmas mini fridge.
Awesome.
That has happened. You know, weirdly enough, it happened last year as well in October, where I was like, you know what, I need like, it would be a really good thing if I could get this computer part. And then the computer part showed up in October, and they were like, just have it. So that's just a thing that keeps happening. I just keep getting early Christmas. And then that means that it's like, you know, I just get like little stocking stuffer things on actual Christmas, but I'm perfectly fine with that.
Nice.
I don't really ask for anything in the first place, so I can't complain about not having a big surprise on Christmas Day itself.
I also am often met with gracious things because I don't ask for anything. I'm a very like, I don't ask for help unless it's almost absolutely necessary usually. Or like it matters, whatever I'm doing matters enough to me and possibly the other person that I need help completing it. I'm just not I don't know. I'm really like that just made me think about like the kind of independent I am. It's very stubborn, admittedly, but I'm not a big help asker. I just like to handle things. It's not really out of like, if you want something right, do it yourself. I believe somebody could help me do it right. But if I want to do something and I don't believe it needs help and I want to do it, then I'm not going to wait to do it. I'm just going to do it when I'm thinking about it, because then I'll forget and I'll get unmotivated.
The only stuff I specifically ask for throughout the year, up until like that's the reason why it bleeds so much into like the holiday season, where I get asked for like what I want for Christmas and I don't have an answer, is that like the most that I ask for throughout the year is just like, oh, hey, can you pick me up a jar of peppers? And that's like kind of as far as that goes. So I was like, what can I ask for, like 2 jars of peppers? Because I just want peppers for my sandwich. It's like, that's not a gift. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, the questions I ask are usually like mutually helpful or help me complete the thing I'm doing. But I'm just kind of a solo act besides specifically collaborative things like this show that you're all listening to and or watching. But generally I don't do much anyway. So
it's a nice thing oftentimes to keep to oneself.
Yep. Most things I've learned how to do, I learned how to do independently. Like things that I can do that I get a lot of like compliments on, like my video creation, like editing or whatever. I learned how to edit videos by myself. I learned how to do makeup by myself through experimentation. I mean, granted with like reference photos and videos somewhat, but I was the one doing all the makeup. I love how my watch keeps telling me I earned stand hours and I'm not standing.
Stand in the place where you live, now face north.
I don't get what it's registering. I'm not standing at all. I haven't been all day.
It's rather bizarre.
I like these. I've told Mia off.
You told me off?
I told Mia off microphone. I didn't know how to say it off camera, but for like a podcast. I got these 2 colored bulbs for my lamps in my room, and it's quite nice. They are Wiz brand, W-I-Z, and you're listening to WIZ 20 in the morning. But they're a brand called Wiz, and they're just 2 light bulbs that just you just like leave the lamp on all the time, and they're Bluetooth, but you can turn them off with you can like set shortcuts on your phone
Oh yeah.
to either through, you can set shortcuts through like an Amazon or Google device or like your phone, like Siri or whatever. And it's really nice. And I don't even use it's not even the voice functions I use. I just use the app and make them like different colors. You can like bookmark colors you like, and there's also dynamic like scenes, so it'll like fade through stuff, customize speed, brightness. But I can like tell, one thing I do tell my Amazon speaker to do is like dim my lights by a certain percent or to a certain percent. That is great. I have you saw it when we moved my shit around. Mia experienced a room moving night with me.
Yeah.
And helped me do it.
I almost fucking broke my hand doing it.
Yes. You took on too many dinks at once, you could say metaphorically. Too many dinks. And you went. You almost went.
Real fucking heavy piece of shit desk.
Yeah, that desk fucking blows in a lot of ways. It's the standing desk I used to have. I opted.
You want to know how the injury almost occurred? Imagine trying to lift a 20-pound weight at the end of a chopstick.
At the end of a chopstick.
Just big ass weight on the end of a lever.
Yeah, it was one of those things you like pick up and then it leans like really hard when you pick it up.
Yep.
But I was gonna say, you know about the I have a lamp that's like almost unreachable without climbing over a bunch of shit in my corner, and that was one of the reasons I got these lights. And then I realized like they were on a good sale at the store I got them at, and so I was just like, well, I'll just get two so that I can match the lights, and it's so great. You can put them on like a day schedule too, but I don't do that. I just change them when I want to. I have this like nice like almost it's honestly like a very fallish orange, and it's very peaceful. And I have it at like what percentage is the lights at right now? I know this is not going to give like any perspective. I'm just curious what they're at. They're at like about 50% brightness. So that's nice. I also will say, side note, referencing me following you on Blue Sky, I just made my account while we were recording this.
I figured.
I have an account now. I have an account if you want to follow me on Blue Sky at Cosmics at me. And you should follow me at Rotting Coffee.
I'm there. Now I have a new...
Mia does more stuff than I do.
Yeah, I have a fun new little icon now for Blue Sky. I keep that changed out a bit more often. I had a little pixel art I did of myself that I made for a Backpack Hero mod earlier this year, and then I abandoned the mod because Backpack Hero is a really fucking buggy, broken game. So I just repurposed that now for a little icon.
Guys, good news. I just got a new follower on Blue Sky. Rotting Coffee Clown VTuber. It just popped up like right then. I'm surprised it popped up on my phone like right in front of me, not even my watch. So I just saw it. Yeah. That was so funny.
I've had LED bulbs for, like, I have like one specific bulb that I keep in a lamp that is for like bedside table. And that's nice for just winding down at night. I usually have it set to like either like a purple or like a red or orange. And I just turn it down really low. It makes just nice little bit of dim light for when I'm about to go to bed. But I also have I have a ceiling fan, and that has a light fixture in it, which has its own like small bulbs. I found like some special little bulbs that fit for that fan, and they're color changing and they're dimmable. But they only work within certain presets that are very restrictive. So there's only like 3 brightness options of like full bright, or like it basically goes down from like full bright to like half bright. It doesn't really get that dim. Really unfortunate. And it is controlled by a remote, and instead it doesn't tie into the same smart home app as my other LED bulbs. So it's hard to like keep them coordinated. I wish they were a little bit fancier, but at least I have the option of like having the preferred colors of it. And also, since there's 3 bulbs there, if I want to have them like slightly different colors, for like I set 2 of them to orange and I set one of them to white, because that just makes the color temperature of this room that I want. I wish I could have set them all to the color temperature I want default, but I can't do that. And because they're all next to each other, all controlled by the same remote, if I want to change just one bulb, or the brightness or color of one bulb, I have to find a specific angle to point the remote at in this room that it only reaches the one bulb. Like I gotta like ricochet. Yeah. To just hit like the one bulb.
It's just like make a hand circle around the sensor so it only hits the fucking...
Honestly, like, actually, yeah, just make like a little like tinfoil like cone just to like focus the beam.
Yeah, it'll block your remote from getting 5G virus. COVID-15.
Once we have 6G, we're all gonna turn into Godzilla.
6G, imagine.
I wish I had 6G. Money on bands.
I got bands. I got so many bands, so many instruments, so many tours.
I got bitches all on my dick and every day, sucking on my balls, licking on my balls.
I'm very pleased that my I don't know, it'd be hard for me to deal with them being on like my 2 light bulbs being on different like things, different services. That would purely deter me from like, if I was like, I want to get a matching light bulb in the same brand for this thing. If that didn't exist, I'd be like, well, I can't do it. Not happening.
Nah.
I'm Lady Gaga. Give me $10,000. Rah rah ah ah ah. I love that picture. I am a fan of some of these like more popular social media like clones that just do it better. I'm a fan of a lot of those. Mainly this one called Blue Sky. You guys should check it out.
I think Blue Sky is the better option of all of them. You could probably go back to like earlier in this podcast, like really early episodes where I was saying like, I most certainly made a statement that's like, yeah, Blue Sky isn't going to take over Twitter because people are still using Twitter. And if people are just going to be so decentralized from one platform, every other platform is going to remain in some level of like a minimal state, because it's not like all the people making an exodus from Twitter are just going to go to one platform. They're going to Blue Sky, Threads, Mastodon. Everybody's split, everybody's spread. But there was a huge push after Brazil was banned from, like, there was a whole, like, Twitter got blocked in Brazil. And so, like, basically all of Brazil moved on to Blue Sky in unison. And that gave it a gigantic push. And now Blue Sky, I think, is, like, around 12 million users. And it's starting to take its place as a more prominent replacement. And you might say that, oh, well, Threads is doing pretty decent because that's tied into like Instagram or whatever. People on Threads, I don't think they've ever like seen the internet before. The way that people post on Threads is like they have never once in their day spent a life. They've never once in their life spent a day on the internet. So that just like Threads is like the Twitter for people who are chronically offline. And so for everybody else, everybody's going to Blue Sky. It's doing pretty decent in that right now.
That's kind of what I liked about Threads. Is nobody was talking about the internet. People were just posting the shit they do or whatever.
Problem on Threads though is that you try to like post a meme or something and then like nobody gets it. Nobody understands it and also takes it entirely too serious and literally and doesn't understand.
I never had that issue, but I'm sorry that you did.
I see so many things from like
I have no idea.
A lot of interactions that you see on Threads are like those the screenshots being shared now from like Discord stuff, people like sharing like memes that are very clearly supposed to be taken in like a satirical sense, like the one that's like me when I have to shoot my dog because I'm bored. Yes. And then like all the reactions are just like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? I have to step away right now. I just can't handle this. That's Threads.
Jesus.
It's like everything is so serious.
Not the experience I had on Threads, but that's crazy.
Why so serious? So yeah, Blue Sky's been pretty decent. Oh, cool. I'm getting a phone call. One moment.
I'm going to run to the bathroom while Mia takes that call. I'll be right back.
I'm back now.
Welcome back.
I had to unload groceries. Fuck were we talking about?
I don't know. Twitter, electric cars, something.
Well, if I don't remember what the hell it was we were talking about, it might be a good opportunity to move into one of our segments.
One of our only segment.
The one consistent segment. The others are nice little treats, but this one's like the Miz. It's here every week, but it's safe.
Oh, no. It's a safe bet. It's a reliable throwout. This is the jobber of closing shit. Is your newspaper bit. Your newspaper bit said less famous Miz.
You know, it really is when you think about it. Everything I do is less famous than the Miz.
Everything anybody does is less famous than the A-lister.
Man. All right.
Except for R-Truth.
Except for R-Truth. This is a weekly segment where I read parts of a newspaper to my good friend Emmy. These newspapers are from the Library of Congress, typically, where they are sourced. I'm going to read it. I'm going to give you 3 dates to guess from when this paper was published. I shall begin the article.
Okay.
American excavators writing new history. Find records of reign of Augustus and old and beautiful temple that's buried. New history is being written near here by a little group of Americans excavating the ancient city of Antioch. The expedition is clearing up, historians believe, many hitherto vague chapters on the closing days of the old Roman reign and the beginning of the Christian era. In the party of explorers are Professor Francis W. Kelsey, Latin scholar from the University of Michigan, Professor David M. Robinson of the University of Pennsylvania, Professor Enoch E. Peterson of Decorah College, Frederick T. Woodbridge, an architect, and George R. Swain, photographer. One of the most important finds has been fragments of bronze tablets bearing the res gestae of Augustus, first Roman emperor. The Res Gestae, regarded as one of the most important of all Latin works, is a brief account of the emperor's reign dictated by him just before his death. Now, when do you think, first guess before I give you another fun little thing from this paper, when do you think they were talking about the Roman reign?
I have no idea.
If there is no guesses from that, then I will share another fun little piece of information that I don't think it'll help much in the date, but it is just an interesting thing to look at. This advert, right next to that article, teeth as low as $5. Look at those teeth. Ohio dentists. There are, believe it or not, inside of just this one paper, there's like 5 other advertisements for just this dentist. But who wants some $5 teeth?
Wow, this is some Ohio shit for real.
I bet you could get teeth for $5 in Ohio. Your options for when this paper was published are 1841, 1890, and 1924.
So you've got 100 years ago, and then a million years ago, and then a billion years ago. So let me think about this.
1841 was a billion years ago.
I don't know. I love that my cat has decided it's yelling at me time.
Yeah, just heard it.
Because you can probably hear it when I'm talking, like right now.
Mow.
Can you also hear my chair? I love all the loud things in my house.
It may also be worth sharing in this. I don't know if here, let me send it into the Discord again, just so we can label it. Another advertisement from this paper. The Lady Gay appears in all her Christmas finery.
Yeah, what is that?
They look like belts.
It does look like belts.
I don't know. It looks like, oh, you know what? I think that looks like a watch in the middle one. That looks like a watch.
Oh, maybe. The Lady Gay appears in all her Christmas finery. What the fuck does that even mean? I don't understand. Like, when was it popular? This is a thing. It's like if I like read the modern newspaper every week, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's so 1924. But like, here's what would be easier in this kind of like challenge is if you showed me like commercials or like something like that. I feel like I'd be able to identify this better.
Oh, I have such a great backlog of commercials I could do for this, but this isn't much of a visual medium typically.
This is so no charge for painless extraction.
But let me break some news to you about the nature of this segment. It's 2% historical fact and learning, and 98% I just saw something funny or coincidental in the paper and I want to point and laugh at it. That is the point is not to let me prove my scholarliness. This is just like, that's a funny thing in the paper.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you can't tell the theme of why this article was chosen for today, it's just because it has the words Roman reign.
I did chuckle when you said Roman reign.
And that's the point of the segment. We've broken it down to its bare essentials. You want to give your guess of the 3 dates?
I'm thinking about it. While you're yelling at me, I'm thinking about it. Give me a break.
What are you, a Kit Kat?
No, I just woke up bitchy today. Maybe I haven't had my daily Snickers yet.
Yeah, you're not you when you're snickering.
You're not you when you're horny. You need Dickers.
Dickers, Mr. Dickard.
Thank you, Marcy, for deciding you're gonna lay on my bed and yell at me. Awesome. Love that for this podcast, this audio show.
Let me note that in the last episode, the video version, there was I was petting animals for a good portion of that, and at one point there was a cat on my lap that I was petting. And because of the way that the camera is framed, you can't see the cat, so it does just look like I'm zerking it for like a minute. Nice. I can promise you there is an animal there.
I will be making a meme edit of that with jerk off sounds.
It will be gift. Have a nice day.
It will be posted on your favorite Blue Sky.
It's your favorite Blue Sky.
Welcome back to Blue Sky in the morning. That does sound like some shit like that.
I don't know if you are up to date on the general eras of different presidents, but this is the front page of the newspaper that if you like know the general era of this will give it away for you.
Yeesh, I probably don't, but we'll see.
Big headline from the day that this was published. It's all Coolidge. How the country voted yesterday at a glance. This paper, not giving you the year, but this was published in November, right after election. And the voting of it was all in favor of Calvin Coolidge.
Yep. No idea. I appreciate your efforts to help me, though. It's not that I feel that my intelligence is being insulted. It's just that I hate trying to, I don't know. There's something that makes my brain fussy about having to guess without, like, me being able to do research, if that makes sense.
Oh, of course, of course.
Me trying to, like, answer a question without being able to do... It's like if I were forced to play trivia on, like, a show or, like, some kind of media I had no idea about, but I was still, like, supposed to guess the answers.
I would love if I could give more information during these segments. The problem is that it just takes so long to read these out that by the time that I give enough information to give a proper profile of when to guess, that's when, like, viewer retention would have already dipped into hell.
Right.
So I try and keep the articles, like, if it's a particularly long article that may give, like, a really good full picture, but the problem is that it takes so long to get through it. So there's a bit of a trade-off between the brevity of the bit and actually being able to competently guess.
I'm curious what these prices are with, like, inflation. I also don't know what pyorrhea is. I don't know what that is.
Pyorrhea.
Pyorrhea.
I think that's
treatment.
Peoria, which is also a name of a place here in Arizona.
What the fuck is Peoria? Nerve removed. Painless. Painless. I meant painless. Teeth extracted. Painless.
Ah, that is another term for periodontitis. Periodontitis is an inflammation of the tissue around the teeth, often causing shrinkage of the gums and loosening of the teeth.
Oh.
So it's just another word for like gum disease, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I do like learning things.
The $5 price noted there,
believe it or not,
for the teeth, that would be $91 today. For, like, the cheapest option there, and everything else there scales pretty similarly around.
That makes sense.
Also gives you another estimate of when this was back in the good, honest days of business. All work guaranteed for 15 years. Examination free. 15-year guarantee. These days you get, like, 2 months at most.
9 to 12 Sunday, that's bullshit. At least close at, like, 3.
Yeah, 9 to 12 on Sunday. Fuck you. That's like, I'm going to church during those hours.
See, that wouldn't hypothetically help me either.
This is like inverse Chick-fil-A.
Well, what I was going to say is that wouldn't help me because Chick-fil-A still has, like, a policy that's stricter than that they're just closed on Sundays.
I would love if there were just a series of businesses that were all, like they all are pseudo-closed on Sundays. They have reduced hours, but all at different hours. So if you have a specific set of errands to run, you have to try and just, like, cascade one into the other. Just like, okay, they close at 3, so I go here at 4, and then I hit this one opens at 5.
But they close at 4:15. It's gonna be a close call.
Gives me just enough time to get over here, which closes at 6.
It's gonna be a close call. I'm gonna have to be out of there by 3:25. Fuck.
Yeah.
That is funny. You know, I'm gonna go 1924 because Ohio didn't exist till after World War I. I'm kidding.
You are correct about part of that.
I'm assuming the Ohio part, right? I still have to guess the year, right?
Yeah, it's 1841, but Ohio wasn't real. No, this is 1924. This is the Seattle Star, published on November 5th, 1924, happening just after the election of Calvin Coolidge, which there is also an article within this same paper about a more local election where one of the candidates got his throat slit by the other fucking candidate.
Awesome.
So if you want to go check that out, go read the November 5th,
in Hell in a Cell,
1924 edition of the Seattle Star. Hell in a Cell. Pandemonium at the podium.
You know what I'm figuring out this is? You know what this is? And this is probably because I started my day with this, and I do too much for how much I hate it. But I play that New York Times game like Wordle that's called Connections, and that game pisses me off. And it brings out a similar rage in me. Not rage, because that's too strong, but like, because Connections makes me rage. That shit pisses me off. Because like the one today or yesterday had like 3 words that actually fit like the theme they were on the line, and then one that like are you gonna play the Connections? Like, can I say it?
I'm not doing it today.
Okay,
no.
I'm gonna pull this up, but it was so fucking stupid. I hope it was the one for today so I can pull it up. Shit, it was the one yesterday. But it was like the category was like things that might sting, and it said like a bee, thorns, or something, and then the fourth one was insult, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You only said like porcupine, bee. So you threw me off by doing animals, and then like hurt your feelings. That made me mad.
The way that Connections is every single day is how I felt watching the second Five Short Graybles episode, where it's like, okay, sure, that's in there too, but you're going to tell me my answer is wrong?
Only Wicked Moody videos. Viewers will get this one. What do we?
What do we?
We watched, so, I don't know if I think we talked about it in the last episode, but we watched so much Adventure Time while Mio was here.
Oh, yeah. It was a great time.
It was a great time. Adventure Time fucking rocks. Apparently, except for the second Graybles episode, because the whole point of the episode was to like throw you off of the theme, the actual theme, apparently. Nobody's had 5 fingers for 20 billion Graybles.
The worst thing about Connections is when it is just something that is so specific with just like the tiniest twist of rules. And it's like, oh, it's all these things, but they have these things added onto them. It's like, okay, so we're just making shit up now. It's like, it's all the different seasons, but we added 5 other letters.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, sure.
It's like putting category different seasons. And you're like fall, spring, autumn, and then like paprika. And it's like, that's not a season.
You know what it'll be is that it'd be like a fucking, like, you guess like lime, and it'll be like, oh, the category is lemons that we turned green. It's not a fucking lemon anymore.
No, like
now that's a lime.
It's a lie.
It's a lime.
Lime.
Lime on the floor.
It's the equivalent of when the Wordle is something that has like 3 letters that fit into like 10 different words, and you have to waste all your guesses getting the wrong word.
Oh my god, it's like, yeah, it's like all words that are like just one different letter at the end.
That happened to me today, I think. Either today or yesterday also. Never mind, I haven't played the Wordle for today, so that must have been yesterday. But that did happen.
I feel like in Wordle, when you get to one of those moments where it's just like, it's the same first 3 letters, you just change the last 2 for whatever like tense it is, I feel like you end up in that situation, it should put you into a fucking like bonus round fire mode where it's like, okay, you have 30 seconds to guess all these variants instead of like wasting each individual guess. It's like, okay, you got the first 3 of these, so now this is a fucking like bonus round, fire them off. See if you get the correct combination.
Like I used to get like almost none of the connections every day. I don't even know why I did it. I just like want to like understand how the game works better for some reason. It's like a challenge kind of thing. It's probably the more competitive side of me coming out, because that's kind of more how I work in terms of competitiveness, is using my like brain. That's why I thrive so much in like Zelda games right now, is because like the puzzles are simple enough. That was why I didn't play them as a kid, because I would get to like the first puzzle and be like, well, the game was good, and then stop playing because I just didn't realize I was supposed to be solving a puzzle, so I didn't get it. I literally have only made it past the Great Deku Tree after the age of 20 in Ocarina of Time, because I spent so long not playing it. But yeah, no, I am kind of on, like, just side note, rounding back to Zelda, I am on kind of a mission to beat every Zelda game I didn't play, at least most of them. A Link to the Past is what I'm going to go to after Link's Awakening, because I got really far in Link's Awakening, or sorry, A Link to the Past on my phone. This is a really long side tangent. Wait, what were we talking about before? Let me finish that. We're talking about connections, right?
In Wordle.
I was making connections there to Zelda. I was just going to say, my connections used to be, I got like none of them. Now it's like I get the first row, and then I like get where it's like 1 away for like my other 4 guesses, and then I just lose. And it's like so fucking annoying. That's why yesterday that pissed me off, because I was just like, and there was another thing on the board that was like something that stings. And I was like, you can't just do that. Like, you have to like think about what you're putting on here and make it smart enough that people can like pick it out. Like, I get it's supposed to be harder, but you can't just put stupid shit so it's hard, because there's no reason for it.
There's like so many like blurred lines that it's like, okay, so I just have to like trial and error these few options that are like pretty gray.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. So anyway, back to Zelda.
I think it's a much better thing now that Zelda games are much more open-ended in their puzzles, and Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom and Breath of the Wild started it.
Yes.
But now Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom are really carrying it through. That you are allowed to sort of make your own solution to puzzles as long as it makes sense.
I'm very excited to play those too. Although Tears of the Kingdom did seem kind of intimidating to me because of all the crafting and stuff. I didn't really like that kind of intimidates me, because I'm not looking to be majorly crafty. I just kind of like going through the story and playing the game.
This is the biggest thing for Tears of the Kingdom. You can have a favorites list of a few things to craft just automatically. So that way then you don't have to manually do stuff every time. And everything else is just kind of more like moving shit around in Gmod and fucking around.
Well, that is
But
nice.
for the stuff that like seems like, oh, if I want to make this really complicated thing that's really helpful, I don't want to build it every time. There are shortcutty things that are like very quality of life for the crafting. It's not as intimidating as it seems. It can be tricky at times, but it is like, it's much more helpful and intuitive than it may seem.
Yeah, it's like easier once you get in and see it for yourself, experience it. Echoes of Wisdom, I am excited. I'm happy and thankful that they keep releasing different kinds of Zelda games. They're not just like kind of jumping on the, well, we found one particular way that works, we're gonna only do that now. That's kind of like what Pokemon's doing.
Oh my god.
At least in my opinion. I like a lot of the newer Pokemon games, especially the open world ones. Like I love Legends Arceus. That's the Pokemon game I probably beat. It's one of the only ones I've ever beat, but it's definitely one of the ones I've played the most. Pokemon Go, I would argue, is my most played Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could argue like is like that for everybody because it's a continuous game that never really ends. But also, that's how I learned most Pokemon by their name and like design was in Pokemon Go in 2016.
It still makes me so mad with Pokemon that now we just had a huge Pokemon leak that just happened recently. And inside of that were like beta files for some Pokemon games, some like newer ones that were like, you know, already published, but stuff like in Sun and Moon. That like my biggest problem with the Pokemon series has been that they just keep rushing them out and not like putting out good quality product and just shoveling out like cyberpunk level unfinished games every year. And it is just even more added sting and insult with now the leak of like the beta version of Pokemon Sun and Moon, that it's like, there's all these like really cool like battle effects that happen, a really like dynamic camera, all these other really cool, interesting features that just didn't make it into the end result game because there just isn't enough time in their production cycles. Like this could have been so amazing and so many cool things that people beg for. The things that people beg for the most and say this would be so cool if they would do this. And they were doing it, they just don't have the time. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm holding tight. I'm clutching my fucking collar over here. Just like, God, just hold on for a good Pokemon. Let them finish one.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly, I hold out a lot of hope for stuff like that. Sometimes for at least game franchises I see potential in, or just like a lot, and I know that eventually they will make more stuff. Like Mike Klebnika, who made Buckshot Roulette, I would love to see more shit from him.
Oh, he's on Blue Sky as well, if you did not know.
I will definitely be following. I do love him, though. He made Buckshot Roulette. He also made a game I played in my 3 Scary Games video over 2 years ago, Control Room Alpha, which when I remember, I've said this before, but when Buckshot Roulette came out, I saw the name, I saw it was developed by Mike Klebnika. I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name? And then I went and checked my video because I could have sworn I played that game, and I did. Control Room Alpha is a good little short horror experience by him.
I had a moment like that just the other day where I played a LiDAR game on my midweek madness, and I was like, oh, this is made by Ken Forrest. Why do I recognize that name? Go look at Ken Forrest. He made a different LiDAR game that I played like 2 years ago. It's like, Ken, you keep making the same game, Ken.
Damn.
I played both of them.
I'm seeing now apparently Buckshot.
We do finally have announcement. October 31st is going to be for the Buckshot Roulette multiplayer. I think it's releasing on the 31st.
Yes, I was just seeing that. That would be a good Halloween stream.
It would be a good time.
Actually, Phasmophobia is doing a Halloween event this year that I was going to check out. They're also, doing an update that has quote-unquote bug fixes and appeal to community complaints.
Are the community complaints that the game got broken like 2 years ago? They did nothing, and also the community got broken 2 years ago because they kept a really shitty person on their team and also did nothing?
That might be part of it. It might be. But regardless, it's called the Blood Moon Rises, the event, and me and Chandler were going to check it out.
Link,
you must save us from the Blood Moon. Link.
Link, the boys are back in town.
I have been eagerly anticipating the Buckshot Roulette multiplayer release date, though, so maybe on Halloween we will stream that. Wait, when is Halloween?
I'd love that.
I can't stream that on Halloween. Halloween's on a Thursday. Fuck. I have work that day.
Shit.
We'll have to celebrate Halloween on November 2nd or 3rd.
Well, usually Halloween celebrations are in like the evening.
Well, yeah, but I'm going to get home at like 10:30 p.m. I'm not going to want to do that by then. I close. I work 4 days a week and I close. I work at a restaurant. I do not want to distinguish any more details than that ever, but I work at a restaurant. I put the food out. I clean the fucking kitchen with my team members, and then we fucking go home.
That is an unfortunate time to be working on that day.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like I had any plans anyway, to be honest. I would much rather close because there's a very distinct difference between like the crew who opens and the crew who closes. I'm usually like one to work more early in the day so I can come home and have the whole day to do stuff. But as I've grown up more and I'm like almost 25 years old, I've realized that like closing is nicer because of how I like to go to bed at night normally. So I can just kind of like wake up in the morning, do a bunch of stuff before work. I've become a lot more used to this over this year. Get stuff done before work and then just go to work. My work environment's really chill. Everyone there is super chill. It's very fun actually. Then I can just like basically chill with a bunch of friends for 6 hours while making food and then just go home. It's nice. It's almost like collaborating with friends on a thing that makes us all money.
We're all collaborating on a sandwich.
On a sandwich and or a salad. Perhaps a side or two.
I could go for cider or two.
That's why I love working just like plain jobs like that because they're so formulaic. It's like similar to my love of like mathematics that like it never changes and it always makes sense to me. Like I just kind of love that shit. That's why like currently as I'm in university, I'm like changing course with my major to work in a field like that where I'm just working mostly with numbers instead of people. Instead of turning my like creativity into a job with a film major, doing that instead. Do you have anything new creative on the horizon for like anything? I'm curious.
I've been thinking about getting back into like drawing and stuff just because I haven't really done it in like 4 years, and seeing people posting a whole bunch of art on Blue Sky. I was like, man, I used to draw all the fucking time until like mid 2020 when I just like stopped. I was doing other shit.
Blue Sky would probably be a good platform for posting that stuff.
Yeah, so I just like want to I feel like getting back into that. Problem with it is that it just takes a lot of time and effort, and
Yes,
those are
it
things
does.
that I sometimes have in excess, but I'm often too tired to grasp.
Oh man.
Possibly some of that. I did remind myself, though, saying, talk about cider. I've started, speaking of something that I haven't done in like 4 years at minimum, I started rewatching Twin Peaks, which is much shorter than I thought it was. It's long episodes, but there's not a lot of them. So I'm binging back through it. And that show, the vibes of it, the season of it, that show tastes like hot apple cider. It is pure comfort for how awful the subject matter is of the show. It is a really amazing and really just like the vibe of the show is fantastic. And it's just like one of those things that is like a perfect fall rewatch. It's just, it feels like fall. Everybody's wearing these big coats and like there's all the trees are changing and Dale Cooper is always talking about a damn fine cup of coffee. And it's for being a murder plot about like this like occultic ritual shit. It's very cozy.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Twin Peaks. What is it like a criminal psychology video or not?
So
video, I meant show. It's getting to me.
It is a show about a murder investigation that happens in a small wooded town called Twin Peaks.
So it's like completely fictional.
Yes, it is. Everything that is like Silent Hill is like very strongly based on it. Deadly Premonition, which is a personal favorite, is like basically just ripping its steez. It is like every time that you see like a horror thing that is set in like that sort of like, a wooded town with all these like big tall trees and like a waterfall and like all that kind of stuff, like real homey. It's all Twin Peaks. It's everything comes back to Twin Peaks.
I must say, I have never in my entire life woken up to the X-Files theme except for the one time Mia stayed at my house. I woke up to the X-Files theme and was like, "Oh, Mia's up."
Yeah,
which is cool. I'm glad you're able to make yourself at home here. It was a pleasure doing the whole trip with you.
that was just, it was pretty common. I'd wake up before you.
Yes.
And where I was sleeping there in your living room with that big ass TV.
I got you that one day. I woke up before you.
What day was that you woke up before me?
I believe it was either the day of Bad Blood or it was one of the days following.
I know like one of the days I slept in so much longer than I thought I would. After Bad Blood, I slept in so late.
I just remember I just remember coming down and being like, yes, I'm the first one up, yes. So I made my coffee and like fed my cats and stuff.
That was typically, I would wake up before you and I would like, usually it was like an hour and a half before you'd wake up, and I'd use that time to just like have my morning, make my breakfast, all that.
Yeah, man.
Made for a nice little routine.
No, not in any kind of like negative light, but Mia knows how to abuse a kitchen.
Yeah, I cooked almost every day I was there.
Yeah, no, Mia made so much food. It was honestly like,
oh, I meant to ask, did you ever eat the leftovers of my potato soup, as you did not indulge while I was there?
I did not get to your potato soup, unfortunately.
What a fucking tragedy.
I'm not sure if it's still good, but it is still in the fridge.
God, no.
So I might get rid of it. But no, I didn't have any.
That breaks my poor little heart.
I am sorry. I will,
That soup is my baby.
whenever you come back and make it again, I promise I will try it.
I think I made in total while I was there 2 omelets, 2 sandwiches, fries, and the potato soup.
And 60 dirty dishes.
I tend to dirty the same dish over and over again because I just make everything in the morning in pans. I find one pan that I like and I cook everything in it.
I told Mia before she came here, and I mean even while she was here, I was like, our kitchen is your studio. Go nuts. Just don't break any of our stuff.
I don't think I broke anything. I think it did. I think I was rather respectful of everything.
No, yeah, you were a great house guest. You didn't do anything wrong. It was quite fun. Okay, can I go off on a completely random side tangent real quick? May I?
Go for it, Queen.
Thanks. I really feel like annoyingly obligated to keep all the Jackbox games installed, especially on my Switch, because every so often me and my sister will have our friends over. Well, I don't want to say this like they annoy me by coming over and me having them, but we'll play them a lot. And I have to reinstall, like, I have the first 6 on my Switch. So I'll like reinstall all of them when they come over, and I'll uninstall all of them after it's been like a few days since we played it. And then I've just decided now I'm going to just keep them on my Switch. But it's one of those things where you kind of like see it in your library and it just feels like clutter because you're not using it.
I have a solution for you.
What is your...
Get a teeny tiny SD card just to hold those games so you can just pop it in and out when the guests come over.
Get an SSD for your Switch.
It's just a little micro SD. It probably wouldn't cost more than like $6 for that much storage. Actually, I don't even know. That'd be like, how much is a micro SD these days?
I don't know. You're going to have to do your own research on that.
I mean, let me take a gander. Like a 16 gigabyte micro SD is $6. I called it
$6. I think I have like a 128 in my Switch. I think it might be a 256. I got it as a gift with like the Switch. The Switch was a Christmas present in 2017, and I got the SD card with it. Also, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. That's the funny thing about when I got the Switch is I beat Mario Odyssey within like less than half a week. I beat it that quickly. And then Zelda, it took me 7 years. So it took me a while to have the patience to like sit down and like cause it's I figured out most of Breath of the Wild. Literally one of the only things I had to look up how to do was fight Ganon at the end of the game, because the second phase, when he gets all like boiling red, I couldn't figure out how to hit him because I didn't know it was shield parrying, because I didn't use shield parrying like literally at all unless it made me. So I just wasn't thinking about it. And then I saw somebody do it. It was kind of unfortunate because it was like how to beat Ganon, but they died like twice. They just kept getting hit.
I think you're supposed to learn it from having done like fighting the random guardians in the field and everything.
But that's the thing.
Even then, there's like multiple ways to handle
I
that.
avoided all them by running. I never like parried any of them.
That would explain the lack of knowledge.
Exactly. But once I saw that, it was so easy.
You gotta have the mentality of like Dark Souls, of like fight every enemy at least once. You see an enemy, kill them at least once. You can run from them after that, but like don't leave that stone unturned or you might regret it.
I don't remember also, but there was actually some way without shield parrying. I figured out how to get... Oh yeah, it was like flurry rushing. I could flurry rush Ganon during his second phase as well, and I was like, oh, this is much easier because I knew how to flurry rush. But yeah, having played Breath of the Wild all the way through now, awesome game. Love it. I see why it was so obsessively popular when it came out. It's just a good game. It was a good time. I had a lot of fun exploring the open world when I was playing it earlier this year. I literally just like got to that final boss fight, had a save right in front of walking into the temple to fight Ganon for 6 months, and then I pulled it out. There's still some games I haven't gone back and finished that I need to finish. Doom Eternal being one of the ones I mainly want to go back and finish. What's on your I guess last question I'll ask, since we're so deep into this episode, but are there any incomplete experiences or like non-attempted experiences you wish to complete in gaming right now?
I do feel like at some point going back to finish Crypt Master. I got pretty deep into Crypt Master, and probably not even that far from like the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that game requires so much brain that I just don't often have to offer.
Right.
And at this point, I've been so separated from it that I'd have to restart to get back into the groove of it, because it's a typing game. So I want to at some point beat it, but it is just such a demanding game to play that it is one of those things that is just going to be shoved away for a very long time for that reason. I do fear adding it onto the docket of a year where I've already done so many gigantic open world games, but I do want to replay Tears of the Kingdom. And I think if I replay Tears of the Kingdom, I want to do like a bit of prep work before I replay it to try and relearn some of the stuff that I knew to do. By the time I was at the end of my playthrough, my first playthrough Tears of the Kingdom, which clocked in like probably close to like 200 hours. I don't even know. I played the shit out of that game. By the end of that, I was like, doing a whole bunch of crazy tricks and stuff, and even trying to like discover my own. And I even found my own little clip to do to like skip the Yiga clan mission. I was like, oh, hey, I figured something out by doing, by using my game knowledge.
Right.
And I haven't even gotten the chance to like test that in a run either. I just know that I just found a way to clip through a specific door. And I do fear that some of that stuff will have been patched out and I won't be able to do it anymore. But I want to get refamiliarized with all of the systems of Tears of the Kingdom so I can come back in and just like I want to have the momentum that I had at the end of that game going into the start of it, where I can just fucking like steamroll everything with immense knowledge.
Right.
So that's on the docket for me.
Understandable. I didn't know the Yiga clan was still in Tears of the Kingdom as well.
Oopsie.
Spoilers. I remember going through their like hideout in Breath of the Wild in the mountains. I remember doing that. That was a mission that took me a few tries because I don't remember what it was, but there was like one part that was stealth based that I just like couldn't figure out for a little bit. I did a lot more of Breath of the Wild figuring it out on my own than I usually would, but I wanted to, and that was the bliss of it. That got me. That's what got me on my Zelda kick this year.
No spoilers, but the Yiga clan stuff in Tears of the Kingdom is incredible, and also it adds like some cool stuff to the story.
Nice.
It is like the way that the Yiga clan is added into Tears of the Kingdom is like such a fantastic way that I think is so wonderful pairing into Breath of the Wild.
That's fantastic. Can't wait to give it a try. That is probably what I would get a Switch voucher for. I could only do one Switch voucher. Oh, I just thought of a whole nother fucking like tangent to go on. Jesus Christ.
Throw it in real quick at the end. We're about to wrap up.
Okay, I'll not talk about the other Switch voucher thing I was going to say, but I was going to say I recently closed my main bank account that I've had forever because I was moving on to a different bank that has a lot better functionality and service. It's just nicer. Like the bank I was with before, if you had a monthly charge that your account couldn't afford, you would be charged for it and your account would be put in the negative, and they would also take what's called a courtesy fee and put your account like $35 more in the negative just because you got charged.
Holy shit.
So like kind of an overdraft fee in a way, but it literally made no sense. And if you called and dealt with their customer service on the phone enough, they would just wipe it from your account and give you the money back anyway. So there was literally no point in doing that.
It's just a fuck you fee.
I also like if I went to Quick Trip to get gas, which is mainly where I get gas because it's cheaper everywhere around here, I go to Quick Trip and get gas with that bank card, with that checking card, and it takes 24 fucking hours for it to show up in my account. It's instant with this other bank I'm with now, and it's so much better. But I went to a firm here in downtown Atlanta that I've never been to with Delta, and I went there and like everyone was so nice and they made it so chill, and they gave me my last 2 overdraft fees in check form, just like cuz, and they just like the guy I spoke with was so chill, and he was like, yeah, I just don't want you to leave us on a bad note. Like he wasn't like trying to convince me to stay, but he was just like, I don't want you to like leave thinking we're assholes. And I was like, well, I do think the people on the phone are an asshole, but you're my friend. I felt like kind of bad that I was there to leave, but I also didn't because it was just time for me to move on from that bank. They were the bank I was with in a joint account with my mom when I first got a job, and I only had a savings account. But yeah, so now I've moved on. Big adult move for me. Moved on to a different bank, completely building a new savings account.
I don't even know if it's a thing that you can like ask your bank to do, but for situations like that, it's like, how about instead of letting them overdraft this thing, how about you just decline the purchase?
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
It's a subscription. It's like, why don't you just tell them no?
Right.
Because I don't have the money. And then you're going to take even more, like, it's almost like you want me to do this more because then you get to have your own little fucking
literally
cut of meat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that this new bank I'm with will send me a notification on my phone like, oh, this service tried to charge you, but you don't have enough, so you can't pay it. I was like, great. Thank you for telling me.
I'd rather you call me broke than make me pay a broke tax.
Exactly. That is exactly why I wanted to switch banks. And my sister told me about the bank I'm with now, and she was like, it literally is probably the best thing that's ever happened in my life. And now I feel the same. They do have some things, some features that are not the greatest, but they actually have added features I wanted since I joined them just a month or two ago. So, very happy in my financial situation, besides how much bad blood drained my funds. But I'm currently, with my next paycheck I get from my job, I should be getting back up to normal, especially as I grow further into the holidays, which is a great time to go back into normal money since I'm going to be spending more of it again.
Yeah, I got a big, I kept a total of how much I spent while I was there. We ate out like 2 or 3 times, and no, we ate out 3 times, I think. And so eating out 3 times paired with the groceries that I bought for while I was there, just that,
I think it was 4 actually.
Three meals. 4?
Yeah.
I know we had Bojangles, we had Chipotle, we had Zaxby's, and did we have another thing? I thought we just had those.
We had oh no, you know what? I was thinking something different, but yeah, I think that was it.
So just from that, eating at those 3 places one time each, and buying groceries for like just being able to like make sandwiches and a soup, I spent like $120 on that trip. Oh, and also like $11 for a drink at Bad Blood. That added a lot.
Oh, true.
It's quite incredible how much you can go through in 1 week when you just have to like eat.
Oh, fucking tell me about it. Tell me about living in an apartment where you're like, you get paid on a Thursday, and by the end of the weekend you're already out of money, because you, like, the way money works for me is like, I get paid, and I generally know how much I'm going to get paid every time. Like, I have a specific amount that gets sent to my savings direct deposit, and then the rest goes to my checking, because my direct deposit is split the way I get paid. And I almost always lay out how I'm going to spend my money before I have it. So then I'll just get everything and then be done. I do save some emergency money usually, or money in case I'm going to need a purchase I'm forgetting about. But, you know, it's like bills priority, pay those, and then pay whatever else. Make sure I have enough money to cover subscriptions I want to pay for, get groceries, and then be poor again.
Thing is, other than the 3 times that we ate out, I tried to be so economically responsible with like everything that I purchased while I was there. Like, it may seem like, oh, you spent $120 in 1 week on like groceries and shit. It's like, yeah, that was the shit that was on discount. Like, I bought everything as bulk economical as I could just for the time I was there. It's like, even that, it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's fucking tough.
Like, I scoured deals with all the options that I chose. We stood around looking at potatoes for like 2 minutes because I was trying to figure out which one was better.
Grocery shopping is kind of fun for me in that way. I like just being able to, I don't know, there's something about it that's relaxing for me. I think it's the way I was like raised to be a grocery shopper.
Called retail therapy.
Yeah, I quite enjoy it personally. Besides the capitalism.
I enjoy most things besides the capitalism.
Fair enough. Well, I guess I've talked enough into this episode, huh? And I suppose you talked also at some points. I guess it's time for us to wrap up for the week, huh?
I suppose this is the end of episode 38 of Closing Shift. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope to see you again this same time next Friday for episode 39.
Yes, please join us and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. I cannot talk recently. And also be sure to follow our socials for absolutely no extra content.
And if you want to recoup some of that grocery money, support us on Coffee.
Yeah. ko-fi.com/closing shift show, I think.
You can see it in the description and find it there.
Yes, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.